why in some situations we get angry. It's a barometer to make sure we understand what we're in, what we're facing. As long as we don't allow those nerves to control us, when we get angry and we fly off the top, we get sad and dive into depression. We get too excited and we think of ourselves as greater or superior than others. Nerves is just a barometer. It's not what should carry us. Oftentimes, all of us in here have a purpose that we were created for in God. But oftentimes we find ourselves ditching our purpose because of the hurt and the pain that comes along with our journey. We oftentimes get to a point where we feel that maybe God isn't with us and maybe this isn't our purpose, because how can I go through so much and be a purpose child of God? Why am I feeling this hurt? Why am I feeling this pain if I'm a child of God? So I can't be purpose. Maybe I'm not like them. Maybe I'm not like Pastor Paula. Maybe I'm not like Bishop Jakes. Maybe I'm not like those people because they seem to have it together and I can't get into my purpose a little bit. But we have to understand that Jesus was not just sent to speak or give us words to read on the Bible. Jesus was actually sent as a model to follow. The way we can become successful is how we follow the world's path. So the world says this is success, and if we don't fall into that path, then we're not successful. And in our flesh, it's easy to understand and get caught up in that fact of saying, look, when you look at your bank accounts, when you look at where you live, and you look at how you're struggling, you're looking that you're living paycheck to paycheck, we understand that sometimes we can get caught up in the fact that I want success. And maybe I have to follow this way in order to break out of the monotony of my life. And yet Jesus shows us that that's not the way children of God should do it. From beginning to end, God has already taken care of your life. The only thing we have to do is make the decision to trust Him. Oftentimes it's hard to trust something that we can't see because sometimes we don't have a constant voice in our ear, a constant person saying, okay, it's okay, you're on the right path, keep going, everything's okay. We need that constant voice in our ear, and sometimes when things get quiet, we start wondering, am I alone? What He tells you is, I order your steps. I've set everything in order. Now it's your responsibility to stay on the path. Now when hurts and trials and tribulations come towards you, yeah, you have every right to get off my path because we want to ease the pain or make the pain go away or hide it. But that's not what I've called for you. You have to understand that where I'm taking you, the stage that I'm putting you on, or wherever the job that I'm giving you, or the platform I'm giving you, you have to understand before you get there, you have to be strong enough to hold that mantle up. I can't put this mantle on the back of a child because a child would collapse. And what happens when you call yourself a child of God and then you get on a mantle and you get on the stage and you get on the platform and you get in a position in which you're supposed to shine and show that you are a child of God and be a representation of His kingdom and glorify His name, and you're not ready for it, when you fall, they don't blame you, they blame God. And they put you in a new position and you fail. So they don't say that you failed. They be like, well, that's God. That's God for you. So we represent, as a Christian, we don't represent ourselves. We're always representing Christ. And if we don't make sure that we ourselves are prepared for where He's taking us, we won't get there. Not His way. If Jesus didn't go through the trials and tribulations of life, if He wasn't betrayed by one of His closest and one of His disciples, if people wasn't constantly after Him and threatening to kill Him, if He didn't go through those 3 years of His ministry, He would not have been prepared for the cross. You're going to be a lawyer. You're going to be a scientist. God called you to be something. So you don't have the right to allow other people of this world to dictate something else. Because when we allow ourselves to be moved off of where God told us to be, or told us to go, when we allow ourselves to be taken off His path, then everything that happens to us off that path is on us. But we often find ourselves asking God, well, God, can you help me out of this one? Can you pull me out of this ditch? And we want it done fast. And God is like, well, I didn't put you in the ditch. Now, he's righteous and faithful to pull us out of the ditch. But he'll let us suffer sometimes to realize that it's me who got this. And you have to follow me. So we have to be aware of what we're doing. And chapter 12 and into is a change of seasons. I don't care how old you are. You are going to have to do some things differently in order to accomplish and do what God has called you to do. We're going to get deeper into it, but I want to say this now. In this next season, as we prepare to, in 2 days or 3 days, we go into the next year, it's a new season. It's also the start of a new decade, a new 10 years. And in order for you to see that 10 years change everything in your life, not only in your life, but your children's life and your grandchildren's life, and set a new standard for what your family is, you have to do things differently. We cannot stay in the box of our faith, because that box has limited God's power working through us. We allow people to tell us what and what we cannot do, when it's God yelling out, that's not where I am anymore. So in order for you to be following me, you have to know what I'm calling you to do, and where I am, and where I'm standing, and where I'm working at. You're still trying to stay over here, and I'm over here. You're still allowing your past mistakes and your past failures to define you, when I've told you that those things have been taken away. And you're a new creature in me. So if you're new, all of those old things have fallen off. But you're still operating in the old ways. You're operating in the old ways, but you want a new life. She knew it, that the change is coming, and this is necessary for me to do in order to see God's purpose done. The way she did that, I have to believe, and it shows us that Mary often sat at the feet of Jesus. So what that tells me is that she was always close to Jesus. So in this new year, in order to do what God has called you to do, you have to be close to God. And I'm not just talking about coming to church on Wednesdays and Sundays. What I'm talking about is Monday through Sunday, you are on your knees and asking God on a daily basis what it is you want me to do today, so I can be prepared for where you're taking me tomorrow. I don't need to ask the pastor. I don't need to ask the minister. I know I need to be near you. And whatever God gives you to do, then it's time for you to do it. I rebuke every spirit of laziness and procrastination and fear, doubt, worry that has kept you from moving in the direction that God has called you to move in your past. 2020 is not that year to be laid back. 2020 is not that year to be passive on your dreams. Whatever it is that God has called you to do, 2020 is the year to lay that seed. I don't know if he told you to start a family. I don't know if he told you to go back to school. I don't know if he told you to start a business. I don't know if he told you to drop that relationship. I don't know what he's told you to do, but whatever it is, do it. Don't worry about the fear. Don't worry about the doubt. Let all that stuff go. I just told you in the beginning of my message that emotions is not created to control us. It's a barometer for where we are. So if you're feeling stressed out and frustrated with your life, then you know why? Because it's not your life. You're living a fraud of a life. You've allowed the enemy to come in and take everything God said about you. You've allowed the enemy to come in and take your joy, your peace, your love. You've allowed the enemy to come in and take your job, your education, your promotion. You've allowed the enemy to come in and establish himself as king. As we go into 2020, we have to take that throne from him. Denounce and renounce everything that he said about us and establish in our lives and tear it down. Because where you're supposed to be, 2020 is your catalyst to get there. But we cannot allow ourselves to be the old selves that makes the new decisions. Because if we allow our old selves to make the new decisions, we'll leave here hyped up. But come Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, our old selves will creep back in and say, you know what he was saying to you, right? Because he wants to destroy your later. Because God, every time God moves, it's not for the now. It's for the later. When Jesus watching, it had to be hard for God to watch his only begotten son be murdered and tortured and disrespected in the present time. But he knew that by his death and resurrection, he would save humanity for a lifetime. He wasn't just saving those who was there with Jesus that day. He was saving us now, today, going into 2020. So God works on a generational thing. We operate on a minute by minute. That's why we over-exaggerate every hurt and pain and tragedy we go through, because we're minute by minute. I don't know how I'm going to get over this. And I'm not thinking that 10 years from now, God has called me to lead nations. But we don't see that. And the enemy plays on our minds, so it keeps us worrying about minute for minute. Because he knows if I let him get up, he's going to lead nations. So I got to keep him down minute by minute. That's why we have to have a renewing of our mind. Jesus was not sent just to give us words in the book. Now understand that the Bible is very important. Those words edify our spirit. It lifts us up. It gives us an understanding of who we are and who our King is and who our Father is, that we feel is an attack against us. And I'm here to tell you that it's not an attack against you. It's a distraction from purpose. And what the enemy wants is for you to be distracted before you go into 2020. So you can miss what God is trying to do in this next season of your life. So if I give you something that'll take you away from God, if I give you something that'll take you away from his presence, if I give you something to worry about, if I give you something to stress over, if I give you something to think about, and it takes you off of what I told you to do, then another 10 years will go by and you'll be in the same rut that you find yourself in now. 2020 gives us an amazing opportunity, people. It gives us an amazing opportunity to change our lives forever. Not just our lives, but our children's lives. Not just our children's lives, but our children's children. For we are to leave an inheritance for our children's children. So God was always working in the generation. That's why the enemy wants to take over your now. That's why he's come to kill, steal, and destroy. And it's not just a physical death that he's trying to bring upon you. If he kills your dreams, your purpose, and everything that God has put in you, he can watch you live on earth as a dead person. You go through the daily routine. You go to work, you go to school, you come home, you talk to your friends, you laugh, ha ha ha. You have your favorite TV shows. But every day you live, you're dead. Because you're not living in purpose. You're not seeking out purpose. Yeah, you come to church, but still when you leave church, you're not walking out what God has put in you to do, because I'm fearful or I'm doubtful or I'm worried, because those things are seeds that have been planted to keep you stagnant. 2020, we are no longer stagnant. The fire. The fire is not a condemnation on God. It's not a tear down of you. The fire is necessary to bring you forth as pure gold. And I also always tell people this: if Jesus went through it, what makes you think you ain't gonna go through it? Being perfect in all ways, and he had to be murdered in order to become Jesus Christ. I know you have doubts. I know you have fears. So do I. I promise you, yesterday when I said there was a plane crash yesterday, and the enemy said, if you get on that plane, you know it's going to crash, right? I mean, he coming at me all kind of ways to not let me get on that plane. And I had to tell him, first of all, I'm purpose. So I know God has called me to do that, so I know it won't crash. But even if it does, I'm in obedience. Whatever it is that God has told you to do, I'm here to confirm it. If you're asking God to confirm, should I do this? Should I go? Should I go? Should I stop? I'm telling you now, yes. It is confirmed. Whatever it is he's called you to do, do it. Don't stop. Don't doubt. Don't procrastinate. Do it. You have to move. Period. There's no ways around it. We have to move.